of your questions and comments to our very special guest today. I'm sure you'll be very interested in this conversation. In the past year, Ghana's Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA, has been on an ambitious reform drive, tightening regulation, expanding access, and introducing a new wave of technology-driven systems. From new and more secure license plates to be rolled out from next year to a point-based system for driver discipline, mandatory registration of excavators and heavy equipment, new DP stickers to curb abuse at the port, and the extension of 24-hour service centers. The DVLA says these measures are designed to promote transparency, safety, and convenience. This morning, we are joined by the Director, Corporate Affairs and Service Excellence from DVLA, Mr. Stephen Etua, and he will answer some of our questions, perhaps, and yours, as we seek to understand all these measures a bit better. Stephen, good morning to you. Welcome to GTV Breakfast. Hope you're well.
Good morning. I'm good.
Great. Now, let's get into the details. There's a lot that DVLA is doing, and I'm hearing thoughts for efficiency, safety, digitalization. Where's this new drive coming from? What's the agenda here? What's the goal?
All right, thank you. I think it's appropriate to say good morning to our viewers and to the management and staff of DVLA. The name, my surname is actually Atu. Yes, thank you so much.
Welcome,
thank
Stephen Atu.
Yeah.
Good to have you.
Thank you. I think it's important that as individuals with a mandate to regulate and also to ensure safety on our roads, we needed to identify modern ways of doing things. Technology is available today than it was in the past, and we need to leverage on the same technology to be able to deliver the best of service to our clients. And I mean, to every Ghanaian, potentially every Ghanaian is a client of DVLA. Once you intend to drive or own a vehicle, you would have an encounter with us one way or the other. So we are actually bringing in new measures to ensure that at least we support government's agenda and also for the safety and security of everybody.
So talk us through the new systems that you're bringing on board. There's a drive to bring new license plates from next year. What's the rationale behind that? What's wrong with the current drive, the plates that we have now?
All right, thank you very much. This is an important intervention that DVLA seeks to bring out. Fact remains that, like I indicated in my opening remark, technology today is more than it was in the past. And we all agree that our license plates, as we have them in the system currently, are plates that were designed so many years back. The technology we have today to detect certain infractions on our roads that will help us to be able to detect driver behavior and for the security of everybody does not exist with the existing plates that we used to have in the system. Now, one thing also we need to note is that our system allows for an individual to bring in vehicles, and then you have a DP, and then you move to a DV, and then you move to the registration proper. Next year, and you consider from the year 2009, every vehicle that is registered had the year of registration at the tail end of it. We're going to take that off. So from 2026, we're not going to see the year of registration at the end of it. Reason also being, you know, a lot of people bring in vehicles, and as a state institution, we should not be used as a conduit for people to, you know, mislead other persons into buying vehicles that they think are new, but the vehicles might have been in the system for quite some time. But the most important of it is the fact that we want to have a plate that is current to technology as we have today. So the plates we are bringing in would actually have the RFID embedded chips in them. And this helps.
What's the RFID?
Yes, this is yes, that is a technology that is available that allows for communication with a scan. So we have a gun that allows for the scanning, and then immediate information is given to DVLA or the officer who is in charge of that inspection to know that, okay, this vehicle, the details you indicate are actually aligned with the person who owns the vehicle. If that is not the case, they take the actions. Like I said, it's for the security of everybody. And that security of everybody, I think that we are much concerned about, People use vehicles to do all sorts of things on our roads. And it is important that as an authority, we kept that situation. Now, what we look out for specifically is that by bringing in this system, when you commit an infraction on our road, you should be able to be fined. And that fine should come to the person who committed the infraction. And that is the person who owns the car. Now, one of the things we want to do specifically with the new plate is that the numbers that we give now will be owned by the individual. So when you decide to sell your car, for instance, you are expected to take off the plate from the car. The new person who has taken ownership of the car should come to DVLA with you, the original owner, to do that transfer.
Okay, help me to understand it better. So the system we have now, if you are selling your car, you sell it with a number plate.
Yes.
And so now the car becomes the next owner's
Yes.
property, problem, whatever
Exactly.
it is.
Exactly.
You're saying that from next year, when you sell your car, so if I have a car this year that I've registered, good morning to all those who have cars already and they've registered. Next year we'll have new technology and yours will be old. You have to remove that 2025 sticker. Let's assume it's registered this year. You have to remove it and then go with the one selling the car to you to DVLA to re-register the car.
So what happens?
Isn't that more work?
No. What happens, what we have currently, even under the current system we have, if you have a vehicle that you're selling, there's what we call a transfer of ownership. And that transfer of ownership is supposed to be done with the consent and the presence of the immediate owner. So we keep having complaints of individuals who come and say that my car has been transferred to another person and I'm not aware of it.
How is that possible?
That's one of the things. And you see,
didn't they sell, were the cars stolen?
no,
Okay.
the cars have been sold. And you see, that is one of the reasons we seek to curb this challenge. Now, if you buy a car from someone who has already owned the car, and you'll be required to register and have your own plate, then it behoves on you to bring the existing owner. So that takes off the situation where the existing owner or the original owner would come later to come say that a car was transferred and I wasn't aware of it. So the requirement now from 2026 is that when we register you, is your property. The car plate becomes your property. And you owe a duty to yourself to make sure that at the time you are disposing of the car, that is taken off. There's also a requirement. If you have a private vehicle, you know that once every year you are supposed to come to DVLA for a roadworthy renewal. What this does is that as soon as that transfer is done, you are suspended from the system. Mind you...
Suspended?
Yes. Mind you...
What does that mean?
Okay, so let me explain to you. When you have a vehicle, the roadworthy is supposed to be active until such a time that you feel, okay, this vehicle is going to the workshop. So it will be off the roads for quite some time. Or maybe you are traveling out of Ghana. The vehicle will not be on the road. You are expected to do what we call a vehicle layoff. So you inform DVLA, and then we suspend the activeness of your roadworthiness. Otherwise, if you don't do that, when you come back, let's say a year or two after, you'll be required to pay a penalty. Because what it means is that you are using the vehicle without a roadworthy certification.
Okay.
So the suspension happens when you come in. It's more like blocking your roadworthy from being
then
active
it will activate
until
again
you
when it
get
gets back
a
on.
new car. So when you get a new car, you have to come with a number plate to DVLA for us to reconnect that number to the make of the vehicle and register it in your name.
It sounds like a lot, but help me understand a few things. So what if you're not buying a car that is already in Ghana? You say that you need to come with the owner of the vehicle to register the car.
If you're buying a car that is not in Ghana, for instance,
so
if you
are
import,
bringing it from
if you bring a
outside
car,
the country.
you are required to come to DVLA and register. In fact, you know that when you come to us, customs should already have the details of that vehicle that you've brought into the country. So you need to go through the process. They release the car and certify to DVLA that indeed this vehicle was brought in, paid the duties and everything. And then it gets registered first in your name. So that's the process. So if you are buying, if you import a vehicle into Ghana, you don't need the person who may have owned the vehicle outside of this
But
country.
if you're selling that car to
Once you
somebody
want to
else,
dispose
you
the
need
car
be
to
there.
another person, there should be that transfer process.
Okay.
And I raise it because, you see, with where we are seeking to get to, you see cameras on our roads. I mean, sometimes when you drive, you see cameras that are mounted by the security enforcement agencies. It is to ensure that we are all safe and to ensure that for individuals who take it upon themselves to disobey traffic regulations, they should be held accountable. And so if you do that transfer and you don't come to inform DVLA for us to disconnect you, a new owner of that vehicle, when he commits infraction, it will be to your account. You'll be required to come and pay at DVLA.
Okay.
And so we don't need, so that is why we need to solve some of these problems.
So then when I sell my old car to a new one,
Yes.
and I take my license plate back,
Yes.
and I buy a new car, do I put that license plate on that car?
You don't just fix it. Because you see, like I said, what we did at the first transfer is to detach you from the vehicle. And that connection was done because the vehicle has a VIN number, it has a make, it has details that are connected to the plate. Once you bring in a new owner, we detach you and then attach the new person. The same way, when you get a new car, you have to come for DVLA to go through the process to attach you to that vehicle for the purposes of identification. And that helps us in that monitoring process.
So it's not automatic that
It's not
if
automatic.
I buy a new car
You just
and
put
I've already
the
sold
plate.
the old one,
No.
I can just
It
fix
won't work that way.
the old. It sounds like a lot of work going back to DVLA and going back.
So the point is, if you don't come back to us, okay, we will not be solving the problem we seek to solve. It's the reason for which we are creating an avenue that makes this exercise much easier and simpler for all of us. You know, we have the technology to be able to do that transfer for you. If you don't come to us, I don't know, I wonder how you could be able to do that. And so, I mean, we would employ Ghanaians to come to appreciate us, to ensure that all these that we'll be doing is for the good and safety of everybody.
I mean, I'm guessing because, like I'm sure you've heard my colleagues say since we started talking about this yesterday, passenger, not always the driver. In fact, 90% of the time I'm the passenger. It sounds like going to DVLA to get any service done at all takes time. So your hands are full as it is. And now you're wanting to add all these, go, and if you need to, or at some point you would have to come back. Do you have the capacity to take on more? Like, I think I'm hearing you saying that you're taking on more responsibility. You're already overworked, and it already takes quite a while for some of the services to be completed for customers.
It is about being efficient. Indeed, we notice the demand that this will come with, and a lot of measures are being put in place. One of the questions that would arise, I mean, a lot of people see us opening new offices for DVLA. It should tell you that these are all falling within the same space. We serve potentially 30 million Ghanaians. Like I said, potentially. And so it stands to reason that we need to be as present and closer to the people as much as possible. And so some of these measures that we put in place is to ensure that that workload that will come, we do it. We are ready, we are committed, and the authority will be able to deliver.
Speak to us about the features. You say that there is a certain ID system which will come with these new plates that would make it possible to scan. Tell me more about the features that will come with. Is it for security reasons?
Yes, it's for security reasons.
Tracking? Is it a tracking device? So wherever you're driving to, can DVLA find you?
So to track a person, you know that you need to go through the law to be able to have that given you. The features are there. You know, government has a mandate to deliver certain things to the people of Ghana. And again, once you put a vehicle on the road, it's no longer a private business. It's a public business. You are within a public space. And so you owe a duty to the other road user, you know. And it's the reason for which we need to be sure that for you who says that we should certify and give you a registration number, we should give you a license to drive, we should be sure that you are mindful of the safety and security of the other party. And so we are doing all of these things just to give assurance to ourselves, to give assurance to passengers who will join a commercial vehicle from one destination to the other, that they will arrive safely and that they may not get missing along the way.
Okay, so you're not tracking us?
No, not at all.
Just for the avoidance of doubt.
Exactly. So that when the need arises, you see, the security agencies, national security and all of them, they pick up specific cases and look into. So when it gets to such a point when they require information to be able to engage in a security check, DVLA should have the system and the data to provide to them to go through it. And you know that before they would have done that, they would have gone through the legal systems to have that mandate to be able to execute.
Do all old cars need to be re-registered then?
The answer is yes. But this is what would happen. We are not given a strict timeline for all vehicles to go and register at DVLA because we anticipate that that will be chaotic for all of us. What we'll be doing, you know, for every commercial vehicle, you have to come back to DVLA once every 6 months to do a road renewal for your roadworthy. If you're a private vehicle owner, you have to come back once a year to do that. So the system would be such that once you're coming for that renewal process, we take you through and then we do the reconnection, we change the plate for you.
Okay, so that there's no
It will
congestion.
be a seamless exercise, smooth exercise, so we don't have congestions.
But if there's no strict timeline, how sure are you that people will comply? And what happens, I mean, there's no timeline, but there will certainly come a point
that we
which
would have to
you would
terminate.
say
Exactly.
do you have an idea when that
Unless
would
there
be?
are exceptional cases. For instance, for someone who possibly had a vehicle, he had done a layoff, he's traveled out of Ghana for a couple of years. Such ones, I mean, policy would make room for such individuals. But like I said, a vehicle that is active on our roads, you are supposed to come back to DVLA either within 6 months or once a year.
So that would be like a transition period.
Exactly. So we have a transition period for
Okay.
that.
So that's all that we need to know about the new license plates. On your screens earlier, we saw what they are likely to look like, and this is from what the DVLA is telling us. So we are no longer having the 2025 in front of, or at the end of, as the last two numbers on the license plate. Explain to me what we are looking at once this kicks in, Mr. Atu. What am I looking at?
What you see here on the screens is a prototype. So you see, for instance, a number plate GV. That tells you automatically that it's a government vehicle.
Okay.
And then, oh, I was talking to the first one. All right, GV. That is a government vehicle. And it is registered in the Greater Accra region. There's Naman, equally at the down there.
What's Naman? So the
Naman,
town?
Naman is the office where the vehicle is registered.
Okay. So if you did it at the headquarters, it will say headquarters?
So upon leaving headquarters, we don't register vehicles at headquarters.
Okay.
So we have operational offices where these things are done.
Okay.
So Naman is our office around Hacho.
Right.
Yes, the one that was moved away from 37. That's the location for it. So when we scan this, it should be able to tell us specifically where the vehicle is registered, who owns the vehicle,
So the 000
when the vehicle
is
came into
what?
this country, and when DVLA registered it.
Where is the scan? Or just by pointing the device at this
you won't see it.
number plate? Okay.
You won't see it.
I was expecting a QR code, maybe.
No,
So that
so
it
the
picks something and then
RFID,
it takes you to something.
the RFID equally is another form of a scan. So this comes with a scanner. It also has its own machine that once you scan on it, you get the details coming in. So you don't need to see the QR code. The QR code was one of the security features that was on the place as we used to have, but we're moving a step ahead of that system.
Right.
So this is more advanced and more current as against the QR codes that we used to have.
Will you need to provide biometrics to get this license plate?
We will do that.
You do that as well, because I don't know what the procedure is, but then if you want to match the vehicle to the owners, then I'm guessing that that's what it could
That's
be.
what
So I
we
thought,
do. You know
I'll
that
ask
even
that as well.
today, to register for a license, you need a Ghana card. And you know the process through which we acquired.
So your biometrics are already with DVLA
Exactly.
if you
So
have the
we
license.
we have that engagement with NIA where we rely on the data for us
Okay.
to.
Now you are also talking about a new point management system. What's that about?
All right, so the DVLA point management system we are looking at is to ensure driver discipline. When we give you a license, it is not as if your problems are over. So a license shows that you are a responsible driver and that anybody who sits in your vehicle should have the comfort and assurance that he's been driven by someone experienced enough, certified by DVLA to do that. Now, the point system would take effect when you commit a road infraction. Depending on the nature of the infraction, you lose a point on the card.
So when you get the license, how many points do you have?
So it's for DVLA to determine. You could have 5.
Okay.
And depending on the nature of the infraction, a point is taken off. So you have a certain number of points that once they are taken off, your license is suspended.
Like strike 1, strike 2, strike 3.
So you have to come and be taken through training again to be confirmed that
Driver
you are
training.
back again. Yes.
Okay.
Before the license is restored for you. So the point system is just to ensure that, look, when you have a license, you must be responsible and drive responsibly, such that there are people who could see dangers and yet they still would overspeed. They would do
so
certain
what
things.
categories of offenses would attract these minuses from the points?
You know that these days, when you drive on the highway, there are notifications on the speed at which you could go.
Speed limits.
Speed limits. You are approaching a town, first 80, 50, 20. You can see this and you are driving at a speed higher than that. Obviously, you are being reckless. And reckless driving will come with such a sanction. You drive on a highway, you see red light, you pass. So DVLA would work in conjunction with other road enforcers to ensure, as soon as the infraction is done. And you see, that's why the need of this new technology we are looking out for. Again, we are looking at a license that has certain features where when the police stops you and they inspect your license, they know that you are driving the right vehicle with a license, or that you are supposed to be a day driver, and yet we are seeing you driving in the night. You are supposed to drive with your glasses on, and you are driving without one. What it means is that you are putting every other person in danger in addition to your own life. And so the technologies and the new initiatives we are bringing, I'm sure Ghanaians will be safer on our roads than before.
I'm curious to find out how this DVLA intends to connect with MTTD and National Road Safety to ensure that all these stakeholders, like you've mentioned, know about the technology, know how to use it. And more importantly, the people, your customers, know that for this infraction, I lose this number of points. Yeah. Is there a plan for that to happen?
So, MTTD, NRSA, that's National Road Safety, and all of that, they are part of the stakeholders of DVLA. And so before we even get to this point, that conversation is done. In fact, we've had the opportunity of meeting with the MTTD. We inspected their systems and we needed to respond. So they don't have a standalone system that does not allow or that cannot rely on DVLA for certain data. And the reason for which is a response to the new technologies that are in the system for traffic management purposes.
When is that rolling out, this point management system?
Would keep the public informed on it.
So for now, once it does roll out, will it be like the police, the MTTD, being on the road to ensure that you're doing it, or is there a digitalized way of monitoring that these points are?
Yes, like I said, there are a lot of technology that is being deployed. There are those who are building the infrastructure. You know that, like I said, there are cameras on our highways now that when you drive and pass at a certain speed, you are spotted immediately.
Some highways.
And exactly, on some highways. And so what it means is that there will be a lot more deployment to expand the coverage so that at least we can assure that in every part of the country.
Do you get points? Because you talked about points being deducted, but can you get points being added for maybe driving for a long time without any infractions or any, issues?
The point is, once you don't have an infraction, it means your license is active.
Because elsewhere, sometimes when you go for a certain amount of time without any accident or stuff,
you get rewarded or something.
There's a reward sometimes, even with insurance. You pay less on your insurance bills and all. That's why I'm asking.
So
these
are actually discussions we could have with the insurance companies. DVLA does not take insurance. So if we engage the insurance companies and it's something they are ready to come on board with, why not? That should work.
So we've dealt with the new license plates and the point meter system. This DP stickers, it's like everybody is very concerned. Two ways. The excavators are coming to the ports, first and foremost.
Good.
And then other vehicles are also coming to the ports. What's the essence of introducing a DP when, in fact, the previous DV also included DP benefits, if my understanding is correct?
Okay, so the DV and DP were playing two different functions. A DP plate, as we used to have, it was an aluminum plate When you bring a vehicle, DP means drive from port. So you need that plate on the car to be able to move the car out of the port to say your garage.
So it's a
Or if
one-time
you're a
use
private,
only.
so it's valid for 14 days. Now, when it was a plate, we had a phenomenon when people bring in, for instance, dealers, they bring in like 50 vehicles. They come and take 5, and then they move the 5 out, and then they detach the plates, come and fix on another 5, take them, and until they are done with moving out all the 50 vehicles. So that is revenue loss to DVLA and government automatically. With the introduction of the DP sticker, it even comes with more features. It has a QR, as we have currently. It has the make of the vehicle, the importer of the vehicle, and everything stated on it. A sticker cannot be pulled out. You can't even peel it off and put on a different vehicle. When that was implemented, the chief executive gave some figures at a point. Before the implementation, we started piloting it around May this year. On a monthly basis, you get just a little above 2,000 cars as a record that have come through the ports. But as of August this year, the figure shows that we could do more than 12,000 a month. So that should tell you that a lot of revenue was going. You move from DP to DV, which is a defective vehicle. And a defective vehicle because DVLA has not done any test on the vehicle to show that it is fit to be on the roads.
So it's assumed to be unfit. Until it is declared as fit.
Yes. So it's for garage owners to have it so that they can move around with it and fix a few things on it before the vehicle is available to come to DVLA. Once it comes to DVLA, it's now registered and you have a registered number on the car. Now, we do register excavators at the port. That system was not in place initially. And it is DVLA's response and contribution towards the fight against galamsey. Now, people bring in excavators. They don't get them registered. They move them as though they are going to engage in construction, or they are sending them to their garages to sell. And the next thing, you find them in some forest somewhere, or in some water body somewhere, and destroying our environment. DVLA decided that for every vehicle that comes, in fact, in collaboration with the Ministry of Transport, and even the Ministry of Lands and the Lands Commission. You know, Lands Commission gives permissions for importation of vehicles, depending on if the person is going to use it for mining. If you are a contractor and you are bringing in excavators, you need to get that clearance to bring them in. When they come, the initial registration that is done at the port is to show that this excavator was brought in by this particular individual, so we can trace. When the person sells it, it gets registered in a different name, and the purpose for which the person is buying is equally stated. What Lands Commission does now is to geofence the excavator. For instance, if you want to use it for mining, if you are authorized and given a license to mine legally, once you operate and you move out of that space, the excavator is demobilized. So we are contributing to the fight against it by identifying the excavator immediately it comes in, who brought it in, and then the government can trace it to its final location.
How many have you registered so far?
I think the record shows that we've done over 1,800 or so.
In what time frame?
As of last month.
1,800 excavators have been registered in the past month?
Yes.
By DVLA?
Yes. That's what we are doing. And we are operating our ports. You know, these vehicles come to the port at any time. We are operating a 24-hour service at the port, such that when you come and you want to clear your vehicle and have DVLA service delivered to us at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., we are there. We are available to provide you with that service.
Okay. I'm still interested in the excavators and the heavy equipment. What has compliance been like? Because the president, when he met with men and women a few weeks ago, he talked about congestion at the port that has warranted the need to move them to a more secure location. Is the registration still continuing despite the fact that they've been moved?
So the point is that we had a little engagement. I mean, I picked some conversation from the minister, and he indicated that for some of the excavators as they have, individuals claim that they were brought in were authorized to bring them in. So they are asking for them to bring the evidence of that clearance for them to import. And once that is done, we register you and you go. If that is not done, I mean, as to the release of those excavators, it lies within the national security and government to deal with.
Does DVLA have the responsibility to verify before it issues the registration license for the excavator?
So the point is, just as a vehicle is imported into the country, every vehicle or every excavator that comes in, there's the importer of that excavator. But what, like I said, the Lands Commission and other stakeholders indeed in the space have done is to ensure that you brought it for construction, you brought it for mining, or you brought it for because you are a dealer and all of that. So once you give them the evidence that shows that they've authorized for the importation, they release the vehicle. And now DVLA collaborates with customs. Once customs has been given the authorization to release the vehicle, which is the excavator, DVLA then registers the excavator. And so we trace the ownership of it, and then we.
But as to the actual use of the excavator, that would have been outside
for government
of your...
and those who supervise that ecosystem to deal with.
As it is, do the same sanctions apply for persons who do not register excavators as applies for persons who do not register other vehicles?
So you are expected to do the registration. So like I said, the DP allows for the same excavator to be moved out of that place.
Okay, so the excavators also get DP stickers.
Exactly. And we are doing a registration. I mean, you are required to register the equipment finally if you are supposed to put it in use. So if you are sending it into a garage, you have the DP to move it to the garage. Once you sell it off, it is equally expected to be registered just as any other equipment is expected to be registered, like a vehicle is registered for it to operate. Okay. And sometimes what we do, in fact, what we did for the excavators that were in the system before we started this exercise was to deploy our offices that are close to some of those areas to register. And we invited the owners of those excavators to do that registration. Okay. Otherwise, they get confiscated once you did not do the registration, and we notice that you are using the excavators to work. Okay.
You've told us that as at about last month, so as at the end of September, you had registered 1,800 excavators.
And it means that
at the port.
Yes. A lot as we have, yes, new registrations.
And when you did that attachment to your offices, regional district offices, how many do you think you've also registered?
I can't give you the figures off head right now.
But
I can't
if you were
do
to
that.
Hazard a guess,
don't push me to the corner.
In the thousands?
Because I wouldn't want to, yes, in the thousands, but I cannot be specific
in the tens of
in
thousands?
a specific figure.
In the thousands?
In their thousands.
Okay, I'll let this one go for now. But I just want to be sure that everybody has an idea of the magnitude of the work that you're doing. And of course, Galamsey is quite topical. We want to be sure that these things that government tell us they're doing, we want to see them on the ground. And so it's just for accountability and transparency reasons, and that's why I'm asking you. So we've also talked about the DP stickers. You still need the DVs if you want to move the cars until you get final
registration.
And that system hasn't changed.
No, it hasn't changed, but they all have expiry. You know, we have a compliance team on the roads. They check because they're just like a learner's plate. They all have expiry dates. If it expires and you are still using it, it comes with sanctions. So you hear the imposition of some 225 cedis charge on infractions on our roads.
So a tall list.
Yes, a tall list.
Of offences that attracts the 225.
Yes, and an expired DV or DP are all captured in there.
Okay.
Once you see you using it, when it had already expired, it means that you are engaged in infraction and you will be compelled to pay.
Okay. Yeah. I'm always interested in what's the payment procedure, because, and this is not to put my good friends in the MTTD or police in any trouble, but sometimes you don't even, you are not told where to make the payment. So if I'm caught for running a red light and the person stops you and says, well, you've reached something close, one of the regulation, something, then tell me how to pay if there's a short code.
So the point is this, there is the MTTD fine which they do. It doesn't fall within DVLA.
Okay.
So if they do a spot fine because you cross traffic light, red light, it's not a DVLA's case.
Okay. What is a DVLA case? Okay,
so the DVLA case has, like you said, a tall list. I could mention a few of them. So you have a faulty seatbelt. In fact, our whole compliance is to ensure that the vehicle is in a good state. So any other infraction on the road, MTTD and others.
But if it's about
so for instance, you have a fake customized plate. You know that somebody comes to DVLA to pay for a plate to be customized. and you have one that is faked. You know that we have certain number plates. There's a way of verifying. That's what the compliance team is capable of detecting, all of those things. You drive with a tint. You see, there's a level of tinting that is allowed. But even for your front windows, you're not expected. Even if you do, it should be light because we must be able to see through.
The level of tinting, does it depend on what kind of position you occupy in society?
So for security vehicles, it's a different kind of story. They are security vehicles. But national security has cars.
Okay, so yes, national security vehicles.
There are security vehicles that are allowed for that. But as a private individual, and these, I raised the point earlier that once you put your vehicle on the road, it's no longer a private business. It's a public business. You cannot have privacy on the public. So
if you're a politician or a politically exposed person, will you be considered in the national security bracket to have more things? Because we see
the point is this:
some of these a security vehicle than the rest.
A security vehicle is a vehicle registered as a security vehicle. Okay. So there are vehicles that are registered as a security vehicle. They have their number plates that they request from DVLA.
How dark
if
is
you don't
fall
there is a standard.
Okay.
And once you exceed it, you pay the 225.
You see, it's obvious that I don't drive, and that's why I'm asking very, very basic questions, because I'm on the road, but as a passenger. So let me understand this. And perhaps there are some of you out there who also may not quite understand the details of this. So it's for your benefit as well. So how dark is too dark?
When it's too dark, it's dark.
From when you're looking in, or when I'm looking out?
Once I can't see you in, it means it's too dark. And you see, for the tint, once you are in, you could see someone out. And again, people use vehicles on the roads to commit so many criminal activities. So for instance, someone has kidnapped some kids in his vehicle and nobody can see through it. That becomes a problem. That's why we say that at least for the front windows, we can see you. If a law enforcement officer wants to inspect your vehicle, they can see through that portion. So this is not to despise anybody, but it's also to ensure that everybody else on the road is safe, and we are guaranteed that you driving this vehicle, you're not committing any criminal conduct on the road.
Okay, so it's all 225?
225.
Are there certain sanctions that are higher?
In fact, the 225 is not a DVLA imposition. It's actually an approved fees and charges that was done by Parliament. And so there's an LI 2180, which is the Fees and Charges Miscellaneous Provisions Act 2023. So some of these approvals were done as far back 2012. And when you want to revise them, you go back to Parliament and then you get them revised for you. So the tall list of items you see are actually charges and fees and charges that have been approved by Parliament that we are enforcing. The reason why it has entered the discussion today is because there's an enforcement team on the road. And what the Chief Executive had done now is to deploy enforcement officers across all the regions. And so they are enforcing it. And that's why we get people talking around it.
So we want the customer experience to be better.
Good.
So this enforcement that you're doing on the roads, some argue that if the office staff were up and doing, people wouldn't need to not go and get their license in order, their vehicle maintenance structures, up and running, right? Because when people come to DVLA to get anything at all done, the suggestion is that it takes a long time. It's customer service week, and because customers are always right, we want to know, what steps have you taken to improve the customer experience for people? Because the Goro boys, there was a reason why they are there. Some people think they get the work done, or some people thought they got the work done. What's the drive for that?
So what we're looking at, all the things I've itemized would not succeed if we don't have a workforce that is committed towards serving the people. And this week being the Customer Service Week, as you rightly stated. You see this document, this is the DVLA Service Delivery Charter. And this document spells out our commitment to serving the people of Ghana with the best of service delivery we can give. When you walk to any DVLA office as we speak now, the first people you come in contact with are the customer service officers. And they are there for a reason. They are there specifically to provide you with the guidance to go through the system and get your service delivered within stated time. And the timelines and everything is stated here. Now, You know that we have different category of service at DVLA. And we know, I mean, we have the standard service, which usually takes quite some time to get delivered. We do have the prestige services, we have the premium services and all of that. But the point is that when you come to DVLA and you are dissatisfied with the service you have received, there are line of structures that you can follow through to make a complaint. As for Chief Executive, he was clear in his mind that if you are caught or there's a complaint about extortion by staff, you don't even need a second chance. He will dismiss you completely. We admit the fact that we are coming from somewhere. There's a certain image of DVLA that has been in the system, which is turning. In fact, we are all focused and committed. Yes.
Because people have gone to DVLA for services and still walked out with fake documents. People have gone to DVLA to renew their licenses and they put fake stickers on there. And this is you at DVLA. You didn't even engage the services of X or Y. We're still trying to find X on our Facebook pages.
You see, what we...
DVLA.
Yes, good. What we are looking at, don't forget that entering DVLA premises and finding anybody at the premises does not necessarily mean that you are engaging a DVLA staff. That's why I raised the point that now when you walk to secure service at DVLA, you get across the customer service point. And so from that interface, you know you are meeting a staff of DVLA with a name tag displayed. For some of these instances, you will ask, who delivered that service? You may not get them mentioning name because the person entered the premises, engaged someone without knowing that possibly that person was not a staff of DVLA.
So we encourage. You admit that they are still around?
We still get news. We get reports of people who have engaged others within the space. And you see, one thing you must always take, or all our viewers must take into consideration is that, especially when it comes to the acquisition of a license, don't go through a third party. If you give your passport to someone to get your license, you are not getting any genuine license. You know, these days we take biometrics. So if you don't take your biometrics, what gives you the guarantee that the license you have is actually a license issued and is genuine? Never. It's not the case. So we entreat people to make use of the customer service desk. Then there you know very well. And again, there are platforms. There's an online. We have the online.dvla.gov.gh where you can actually go in and initiate a process. You can start a vehicle registration process there. You can start a license acquisition process there. And you do that to generate an invoice. And then you follow up to DVLA. You get your biometric captured and everything. You get your temporary license. And don't forget, that temporary license print that they give you is actually a license. It only tells you that your card is not readily available. But you can use that to drive so long as you have it with you.
Well, at the time that I got my new license, it was supposed to last 3 months, and there was an expiry date on it. And when the date...
So the understanding...
when it expired and my card was still not ready, then the frustration began to set in. So it's about reducing the waiting times at the DVLA offices, and so you can use some of these digital platforms that you've talked about. But it's also to make sure that you actually get the services that you've been promised within the time frame that you've been promised those services.
Good. So when this new administration came, there used to be some backlogs of applications in the system. And we do appreciate some challenges that the authority had in the past. And over 440,000 of such licenses were printed and distributed. We are working as close as being up to date with license applications so that for anyone who comes to the standard service and we give it a 3 months period, that license should be ready within that period. And the point I want to emphasize is that that card, that printout, the paper, the temporary paper you have, it does not expire. You may have an expiry date on it, but nobody should be able to stop you and say that you are holding something that is
even after the card hadn't arrived for 8 months and a year.
You should be able to use it. Because you see, when finally you get your license, you see that the license date of issuance is the date that is stated on that card, that temporary printout for you. So that's why I say that you have actually acquired your license.
Will be the date that was
on the temporary card.
The temporary. So if my temporary one expired in February of 2025, my new license will backdate to February of 2025 instead of October, which is the current month that we are in now. So then It means I'm almost due for a renewal.
And you know you do renewals once a year. Like the card
every 2
actually
years.
is for a 6-year duration. And once every 2 years you come in. And the requirement is that you do an eye test at least. Because we have to be sure that the sight you had at the time of acquiring the license is still good. Because you know that if you have bad sight and it can be corrected, that system can help you to go and correct that sight. We do get feedback from people who come, oh, I do appreciate the fact that I got through this exercise and I got to correct it.
This is where we say good morning to all the church drivers. People say that if you wear glasses and you drive church, nobody will join your car. So church drivers don't care. I'm sorry if this applies to you, but get your eyes checked. It asks your safety on the road. So I'm being asked to let you tell us about the code to pay for the fines. Is there a code? You did say that this was a government general fees and services
charges.
Charge.
Yes.
Is there a code?
What the enforcement, the compliance team does, they have a receipt, a DVLA receipt that they provide. We are working at having a platform that allows for the payment so that we take off the human...
You mean the DVLA, the officers who stop you
yes,
and who identify the infringement will then bring out a receipt and write Thelmataki,
they give you a receipt.
Tail light.
Yes, they have to state the exact things for which you are being charged.
And they will take that money back to DVLA at the end of the day. They do that.
Because, yes, they are monitored on a daily basis. And so if... And that is where the public would be advised. If you have had such an encounter and you are not given a receipt, it is a case of letting us know where that incident took place.
Where do you engage the public to get this feedback? Because some people may have cause to come and tell you,
yes,
give you information, but where do they go?
There's a feedback system we have.
Okay.
Like I said, we, at the customer service center, we do have QR stands at all of them. In fact, when you go through our Facebook accounts, our social media accounts, we have Facebook, we have X, we have IG, all those other accounts, you could actually lodge a complaint. Then we have a complaint platform on our website, which is dvla.gov.gh. You can actually file a complaint through that exercise or that platform. And all of that, we have officers at the back end who are receiving the complaints and dealing with them. And on a daily basis, we get assigned officers or directors who are in charge of dealing with the responses to such instances.
You have a team that takes concerns and complaints and addresses
the customers. Yes. So the customer service system is such that they have a complaint unit. It takes the complaints, and then those that can be dealt with instantly, they do them. Those that will require 14 days to deal with, those that will require for like 28 or 30 days to resolve, they do that. And we deal with them.
What's the biggest challenge that you deal with for complaints and concerns from the public?
Currently, like you rightly stated, we have complaints about individuals who may have gone to DVLA, acquired a service, and then they claim that the service, after they met with our compliance team, they said they have a fake documentation. And that is why we emphasize the point that entering into our premises, you should go beyond that. Make sure you approach a DVLA staff properly for such service to be delivered. And so that sensitization is ongoing.
Okay. We'll talk about the 24-hour services that you are rolling out.
All right.
But I just want to bring our viewers into the conversation, give them an opportunity to perhaps ask you a few questions. The number to call is 054 366 4264, 054 366 4264. The DVLA is at the table, Director of Corporate Affairs and Customer Service Excellence for Customer Service. He's here. Stephen Atu will answer all your questions. Please keep them straight and brief to the point. Reduce the volume on your TV set, and we'll try and get as many of your concerns across to him as possible. 054 366 4264. Stephen, brace yourself, because sometimes these questions, they can come in quick succession. And where we are able, I'll entreat you to jot down some of the questions, and then I'll give you the opportunity to respond. This booklet that's before you, they start to ask you, where can we find it? Because if you're saying that customers have rights and things that's being put here, we need to read and find out what they are.
So when you go to every DVLA office,
is it
these
free?
documents have it. Yes,
you can take one.
When you
free.
go, yes, just ask for it.
I'll take one. As a future incoming driver, that will put Jay and Valerie to shame. I'm going to take one of those. When I register my car in 2026, you see. But you can call us 054 3664 Now you're opening new branches.
Yeah.
We've heard recently the Adenta one, quite exciting.
Yeah.
And this one at Doma has also
Yes,
opened.
we've done Doma. We did Bechem 2 weeks ago. Yes, we've done, before then we had done Bole.
Okay.
And after Bole, we did Akwetia.
Okay, hold on to that. Daniel has joined us from Japan. Daniel, good morning to you. What's your question or contribution to this conversation with the DVLA?
Okay, seriously, I have a complaint to launch and I have a question to ask.
Go ahead.
Okay, I've applied for driver's license. I went to the office myself, that's Central Region, Cape Coast. Yeah, to avoid what he's saying that the Buru boys or whatever, I don't know their name, not to give money to them so that they would. I wanted to avoid that and I went to the office. They registered my name and I have the voucher. They sold the voucher. I wanted express, so I bought, I think, premium or whatever. Yeah. So during the process, first registration in the computer, they sent me to one officer, DVL officer, and he requested that I should go to hospital for a later for test. Yeah. I asked what test was it because I'm a physical challenge person. I'm using artificial leg. So I went to the Kolebuti, how do you call it, Cape Coast Hospital, TC Hospital, for the test. I went there, spent money, and I came back with the result for them. As I'm speaking, anytime I went there for my the continuation of my license, they will say the chief is not around for him to go through the test that I bought, for him to give them a go ahead to do this thing for me. It takes me like something that I bought for Express, which is they told me within 1 month to my license will be ready. I keep going to that office.
And your license is still not ready, right?
No.
Okay, so what's the way forward for Daniel? And I've told you this before we go to that. Daniel, thank you for your question. I think that Stephen has taken it on and he will answer. You pay for a service, they tell you this will take this amount of time. It should take that amount of time for the service to be delivered.
Exactly.
So he's done the test. He's brought the report to you. What's happening? What can he do?
Okay, I wish I knew when this happened. That's first thing. But before we go on, let me announce 2 things. Our customer complaint number and contact. So we have 0203 22 6006. 0203 22 6006. And then we have also an email address which is complaint. So complaint, COMPLAINT, at dvla.gov.gh. Complaint at dvla.gov.gh. So complaints could be filed here. I wish I knew when, but he did indicate that he went there and he had to meet certain conditions, certain medical conditions. And these are things that
the eye checks, you do them at DVLA?
I think he's went outside of the eye test. If I heard him right, he said some disability or something. When it gets to a certain level where the license officer has a certain concern as to whether you yourself driving that vehicle, you are safe or not putting other persons in danger because you are driving, they do refer customers for additional medical examination and that report. If that report had come back, as he said, that come back to DVLA, we have to go through the process and get him the license. That's what he said.
And that
exactly. So what I'm saying is that once that has come back to DVLA, it means that his case should have been resolved and then a license restored if the record shows that he should be given a license. And so his case, I wish I can reach him so that we can follow up on his case specifically for him.
All right.
If otherwise he can get back.
Daniel, call us at the end of the program when you see the end credits roll and the music playing. Call us back. Our producer will take your number and then we'll get you in touch with Stephen and his team here he came with, some men and women who are very, very keen on solving some of these problems that you've brought to attention. So you can also call 020-322-6006, and that is the customer complaints number. Wisdom also has a question for you, Daniel. Let's hear what Wisdom has to say. Wisdom, good morning to you. Welcome to GTV Breakfast. And where are you reaching us from this morning?
Hello, mommy.
Wisdom, go ahead. We are listening to you.
Yeah, my problem is the MTT, the police people. They used to be worrying us on the road all the time. Good morning.
Okay, thank you, Wisdom. Good morning to you. Wisdom, this is DVLA, not MTTD.
MTTU, we hope that recently and our president and our excellence, he was announced about you shouldn't be worrying us taxi drivers and truck drivers. And especially Kolebu MTTU.
Wisdom, this is DVLA on the table, not MTTD. So I'm sorry we will not be able to put that question directly to Daniel. So perhaps another occasion when you have a question for DVLA and they are on the table, or if MTTD next time is on the table, then we'll take yours. Wisdom, thank you. You were talking to us about the centers that you've opened across the country, Bole, and what's the link between that and the 24-hour service that you're rolling out?
So, Chief Executive has directed that beginning next year, all our regional offices, so there are specific regions, in fact, I think with the exception of 2 of them, OT region and then Northeast. DVLA currently does not have offices in those areas. But all regional offices, in addition to the offices we have in Accra, so Accra we have Tema, we have Wager. Adentan is already operating 24 hours. They will begin the operation of the 24-hour service. So
all the regional offices?
The regional offices.
But Accra has more?
Accra has more.
Okay, hold on to that thought. I'll get back to you on that. I think we do have a caller who has a concern. Good morning to you. Welcome to GTV Breakfast. What's your name?
Good morning. My name is Selina.
Selina, please go ahead.
My Mikasa Fita Krani.
Okay, go ahead.
My license 2022. And I'm a renewal. Up to now, my son can my license.
Okay.
Me could be a temporary one on the man, me could be a no more extended. Me beside almost say manager now no more in if you. No, I bet it's a me on recapturing, so almost your moment when you're recapturing, mammy. It's up to now, that's what you so temporary one, sir.
Okay, Selina, thank you for joining this conversation. And it's not just Selina. I spoke to you about paying for a service and having the receipt and going to DVLA constantly to get the service that I've paid for, and then they tell you, oh, the person who did it for you is not there. What has that got to do with the service that I've legitimately paid the government of Ghana through the DVLA as the implementing agency in this case to give me? Why does Selina still not have a license? What can she do?
You see, it could be one of 2 things. Either the license is printed or not printed. That's one thing. And like I said, that we cleared the backlogs that we had. I don't know if it is possible to engage them a little on the line. When was the last time she visited a DVLA office? Because it is possible the license is currently with the office for pickup.
If she reaches out to the complaint number that you
if she reaches out, they will check. They will check the details because she has a code on the temporary license, which they will take and check and see if the batch of licenses have been printed. If not, they will check the specific issue with her application, and then they will advise accordingly.
Okay. Another caller is reaching us from Shiashi. Good morning to you. What's your name?
Good morning, madam.
Good morning to you. May I have your name, please?
I'm Mr. Otin.
Otin, thank you for reaching out. Stephen is waiting for your questions. What you want to ask him?
Actually, I'm a car dealer, so I wanted to find out the information concerning how effective this new plate or new model of car plates will be effective for us.
Is it the new licenses that will start next year?
Yes, please, the new number plate.
Okay. What does that new system mean for persons who...
I'm the CEO of Otin Prime Automobile Enterprise. We are into importation.
Thank you, Otin. And what does the new license regime have concerning car dealers.
For him as a dealer, he has the right to import vehicles. When the vehicles come to the port, he will clear them with a DP sticker.
A sticker.
When they get to the garage after 14 days, he has a mandate to acquire a DV for those vehicles.
So the dealer has to
The dealer
buy the DV plate.
Once the vehicle is going to a garage, and all garage owners would have assigned specific numbers which they use as DVs because before the vehicle comes for registration. If he sells the car, customs would have to release that vehicle because they have it in their system that it came through the approved routes, it had paid the required duties, and is ready to be transferred to an owner. That owner now has a mandate to come to DVLA, register, and have the new plate and get connected with the vehicle.
Explain that to me again. You are a car dealer, you import cars. You need the DP sticker from the port to bring them to the garage. That lasts 14 days. After 14 days, you need to pay.
You need to acquire a DV plate because you may move the car one way or the other to fix one or two. Somebody may want to try the vehicle and see how it's operating. So that DV is used for that function. But he, as a car dealer, has no business with our new number plate.
Okay, so it's the owner of the car.
It's the owner, the one he sells the car to.
Does the dealer need to be at the DVLA?
So
for the
a fresh car that has come in, if once the car is not registered in his name, that's fine. A fresh car that has come into the system, the release is done by customs.
Okay, let's hear Kofi's question reaching us from the Bono Ahafo area. Kofi, good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
Let's hear you.
God bless you.
Thank you very much. Bless you
Okay.
too.
Okay.
Go ahead. Oh, I like that. I think we should open the phone lines for more of such blessings. Kofi, thank you for those blessings from MBA. More questions will be coming up. Is there another caller on the line? I believe there is, and perhaps you can hear. Good morning. Welcome to GTV Breakfast. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you, sir. Your name and where you are reaching us from?
My name is Mohammed. I'm calling from Santo.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, my license has expired, and then I went and then they issued this temporary license to me. That was 7th September 2003. Up to now, I've been going there since they were the time they were at.
Did you say 2003?
Yeah, 2003. Yeah.
That is over 20 years ago.
So sorry, 2023. Sorry.
Okay. Okay, because you should hear the student. Everybody's so 2023. So this was more than 2 years ago now because we're in October.
Yeah, when they were at 37.
And still no license.
I heard. Hello.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So one day I heard about this. The MD was in one of your sister station was explaining that they clear all the backlog. So I went to their news station office now. That was last 2 weeks ago. But they still said that the license has not been printed.
Okay, Stephen, help Mohammed out here.
For Mohammed, it means that there's a special case. What ought to have been done at the office is to go to the system because every manager at the offices have access to a platform where they could actually check and know the problem with that particular license and advise. He should make use of the complaints.
There's an online platform?
No, what I mean is that every manager, I mean, this is an institution, internal institution, there are internal mechanisms. You could have gone into the system to check that license specifically to know what is wrong and advise the customer accordingly. His complaints can be filed. Like I provided the details, it will be looked into. That license should not take time to get done for him.
And here's a question that one of our viewers is asking. Will there be a way for people to check online? So is there an online portal where you can check if your licenses are ready without having to go to the office physically?
There are. I would, maybe in my subsequent engagement, I don't have that detail currently, but I knew very well that there is actually a short code platform that allows for an individual who has done an application to check and see whether the license is available for pickup. One thing we need to also know, when you register for a license in a particular office, go back to that office to pick it up.
Don't go to another office.
Because,
Let's hear Paul from Kumasi, and he will be our final call for the day. Paul, good morning to you. Thank you for reaching us. What's your question or comment?
Yeah, my question is, I was watching the program and I have some question to ask.
Go
I
ahead.
have a car and I travel out of the country. I spent almost 3 years. When I came back, I tried to get a roadworthy on my car, and they asked me to pay for more than 3 years, which I didn't use the car. I have evidence. I travel. I just came in on the August.
Okay.
I tried to get it, but they asked me to pay a penalty before they give me a new one. For what reason?
Okay, Paul, your question has been heard. Thank you for reaching us. Stephen.
Before I speak to Paul, actually, the online platform I gave, which is the online.dvla.gov.gh, you can actually use that platform to check your license, whether it's printed or not.
dvla.gov.gh.
The online.
Okay.
So I gave
Give us
you
the name of the
online.dvla.
Online.dvla.gov.gh.
You could actually use that platform to check the readiness of your license.
Before you move?
Yes, please.
Okay, so to the one who sent the question asking if there's a way to check an online portal to see if your license is ready before you go to DVLA physically, that is available, and it's online.dvla.gov.gh. Gov is gov.gh. So Paul has a concern, and it's also not just with the vehicle, but also with the license, because there's a time frame. If you're out of the country and you come back years later, they would deem the time that you were away as defaulting of your renewal, and so ask you to pay a backlog.
So
is that fair to Paul and persons in his position?
You remember when we were discussing the new plate issue, I told you about
the suspension.
What Paul ought to have done before he traveled was to come to DVLA and apply for what we call a vehicle layoff. So the roadworthy requirement would have been suspended until he came back. So long as that was not done, it is presumed that the vehicle is in Ghana, is being used, and he has not renewed his roadworthiness. So our viewers should take this into consideration. If your vehicle, for one reason or the other, maybe it will be at a workshop for some time, maybe it was involved in an accident, and so they are fixing it and it will take some time, or you are traveling out of the country and your renewals may come in between, just come to DVLA, apply for a layoff. That vehicle will be taken off. When you come, we'll reactivate it and then it starts running.
Is there a charge for that service?
It's not.
There's
no charge, yes.
Okay, so hopefully we've answered some of your questions. That's all that we'll be able to take for now. But Stephen, here is a final opportunity. You were talking to us about the regional offices that will be opened more in Accra. We'll have you again to, have this conversation extensively. 30 seconds, your final words to us, and then we'll rise from here.
Thank you very much. I think I'll use this opportunity to thank our viewers and to thank them all for the feedback we've gotten. As an authority, we are committed towards delivering the best of service. It's the reason for which our joining in the celebration of Customer Service Week as a state institution is to give the Ghanaian people our commitment to go outside of what government institutions do and operate to deliver better service like the private sector does.